First of all, I want to congratulate Fianna Fáil on submitting this private member's motion tonight. I think it's a very important debate, first week back. Unfortunately, because of the nature of the budgets and when they're announced, this has really been the first opportunity that this House has had the opportunity to discuss the impacts that the €90 million cut in the education budget has had. And I know we're focusing on the increase in the PTR tonight, and when you say it fast, it seems like nothing. We're changing from 17 to 19 to 1. But the reality of that is that we're actually reducing the number of frontline staff who are employed to teach the most disadvantaged and marginalised people in our society. I was listening to Minister Sherlock speak about his experiences as a past student of College of Commerce. I also am a past student of College of Commerce. I ended up leaving secondary school, taking a bit of time out. Wasn't really a model student. I think most people would recognise that. Certainly my own teachers would recognise that. Took a bit of time out, did a bit of work, and eventually got to a place in my life where I wanted to get back into education, and thankfully that road back into education was there for me, and I will always be appreciative of it. We're talking about the loss of in the region of 400 to 500 teaching posts, because the nature of teaching now means that even though we're talking about 200 whole-time equivalents, the reality is we're talking about the loss of 400 to 500 jobs. That is the reality, Sean, and you know that as well as I do. Well, even if you take the Cork VEC, which you spoke about yourself, and I mean, you made a big play on how we're going to try and protect frontline services. The reality in our county is that we're taking 10% of the staff out of this sector, and we're expecting them to deliver the same quality of education to the same number of students, and we're hoping, according to you, that the CEOs and the principals can get around the table and protect the courses that are currently there. That is just not going to happen. It is just not true, and it's not being honest with people to say that this government's priority is to try and protect frontline services. This measure is doing the complete opposite. We are taking 10% of the staff from our county out of the further education sector, and there is no way of trying to paint that in any different light. That's just what's happening. And the impact that's going to have on colleges of further education in my own constituency, in my own community, places like Stefan Nefa, Terence McSweeney, is going to be felt for many, many years to come. Take Terence McSweeney College in the north side of Cork City, in the heart of Knocknaheeny, an area which has seen a lot of disadvantage down through the years, an area which has a proud tradition, an area which has a lot of good people working on the ground day in, day out to try and improve the quality of life of young people leaving post-primary education up there. We have some of the highest rates of unemployment, and the courses that are offered by Terence McSweeney College in the heart of Knocknaheeny are helping people to upskill and get back into employment. They are giving people a bit of dignity and a bit of self-esteem back.
2 minutes
and
remaining.
That is what the colleges of further education do for a vast number of people. They help them to regain a sense of self-worth, and they help them get back on the education ladder. They help them they even help students who have left, who took a few years out, who want to get onto higher education, maybe didn't have the academic qualifications coming out of Leaving Cert. They can use further education as a stepping stone into higher education. And what this government is doing is taking out that stepping stone for a lot of people. Now, I said at the outset that we're talking in the region of 400 to 500 job losses, in my opinion. And I'm saying, well, Sean, the figures are being provided there. And if Well then, if you have the figures, then maybe you should publish them as well, because the figures that we have would suggest that 400 to 500 jobs are going to be lost in this sector. The figures are there. I mean, the figures, even for Cork City, you're saying 10% are going to be lost. And if this was a private company who came out in the morning and who was announcing a change in the way they operate, and it was going to result in this number of jobs losses, this government would be doing everything possible to try and engage with that sector to save those jobs. Yet we have a government decision resulting in that number of people losing in employment, and it's trying to be justified in two ways. Up to tonight, it was being justified only in one way, which was that we were trying to bring it into line the pupil teacher ratio in post-primary schools. We are now saying that it is our priority as a government to protect the educational needs of children.
Thank you, Deputy.
If that was the case, then you wouldn't be cutting the capitation grants, the primary and post-primary schools. If that was the case last year, you wouldn't have attacked DESH. It's your priority now because it suits today in trying to justify the cuts which have been announced by this government. And Minister,
please,
I didn't interrupt you now.
Yeah,
I didn't
want
interrupt
to call
you.
Deputy,
And I will conclude in this. I will conclude in this. I will conclude in this, Minister. I would ask you. You spoke about it's up to the CEOs and the principals now to sit down to see if they can have a joined-up approach to course provision and all that. I would argue that that should have happened before this announcement took place, because you are risking a lot if that cannot happen.
Thank you, Deputy.